Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I know there's a ton of people waiting in the chat. Welcome to this week's Xbox Factor podcast. I am one of your hosts, MrBooMStickXL, and with me, the outstanding and amazing community member known as the Welsh Gamer. Welsh, welcome to the show.
MrBooMStickXL, my brother. We had a little bit of a scare a second ago, guys, ladies and gentlemen. For a moment, we clicked the live button and it kept saying, fail to go live. We were just like, oh, we can't do this to the fans, Boom. We can't do this to the fans. But luckily, the Google gods have granted us access to the live show, and here we are. And I'm happy to be here. Another week, another Xbox Factor. Ready to hit it, Boom.
Okay, well, listen, folks, you tune in for honesty and integrity with the Xbox Factor podcast. So that's what we're going to give you today. We're going to open up with a pretty interesting topic. As a matter of fact, there are 8 topics that we have on the docket for today's episode, each one of them more outstanding than the next. And when I sent the topics over to Drew, he asked me in particular to start off with topic number 4. So we're going to start with that one first. Now, this is a topic that I think Xbox gamers have tuned in to this show to hear. Both Drew and I are Xbox gamers. We've said it, we've confirmed it, and we hold both of ourselves accountable with a journalistic responsibility to the viewers of the Xbox Factor podcast to report on fact. And though we're not journalists, we still have high standards. Now, all of the Xbox 2 and PlayStation 5 info that has been leaked in the last couple of weeks has been nothing short of amazing. Now, also, none of these rumors have been confirmed by either Microsoft or Sony. So take these opinions with a grain of salt. With that said, I want to discuss the social media double standard that is at play on a regular basis, Drew. Since the Xbox Anaconda / Lockhart specs were publicly released by French website Jeux Video, and that's spelled Jeux. I also used the word box on YouTube to confirm the pronunciation of it to make sure I got it right. There's been a lot of talk about power doesn't matter. PS5 will have the games, and though that was not the case when it came to 1080p versus 900p, power was at the top of everyone's plastic war list. As of today's show, the rumored PS5 specs have it coming in between the Xbox Lockhart and the overpowered Xbox Anaconda. Drew, my question to you is, will power matter in 2020?
Right, well, Boom. In previous shows, I've said that, and this goes for all platforms now, not just PlayStation, not just for Xbox, but I've said for some time now that in this current gaming climate, if you want to call it gaming climate, or this gaming, war zone, just to call it one, just to give it a name, I suppose, you need 3 things. And the reason I say this is because obviously there's talk of like Amazon and Google, and there's always some new head or new kid on the block who wants to dabble in the gaming industry. And I say to those people the same thing: if you want to compete in today's gaming realm, you need 3 things. You need power, and you need a solid lineup of studios that can produce games, and you need consistent marketing to casuals and general marketing in general. Those are 3 things you need to push heavy to succeed in a generation. Now you're probably wondering, why are you backtracking, Welsh? That was 3 shows ago, motherfucker. But but the thing is, you're asking me, does power matter? And I'm going to say this: yes, it does matter. It might not matter to everyone, but this generation has literally proven that power does in fact matter. At least it pretty much led this generation in a lot of ways. And what makes me laugh, Boom, is the fact that the PlayStation community with those leaks are now saying power doesn't matter, when it was those guys that pushed power down our throats like it was going out of fashion. Let us not forget The 1080p makes you a better gamer, quote, by no other than Yoshida. And versus nowadays, that it's not about the power, it's about the games. It's a funny one, Boom. It's just a classic case of moving the goalposts, but there is definitely a double standard there. And in answer to your, initial question about power, it is certainly important. And even if the PlayStation 5 falls short on the power side, or even if they reign supreme and Xbox falls short, regardless of who's that bit more powerful than the other, to look me in the face and say that power doesn't matter, you're a fool, in my opinion, anyway. And apologies if you feel that way, Boom, but I'll call you a fool too.
Well, no, I mean, listen, I'm right there with you. Gaming is getting bigger. We are on the cusp of some of these games eclipsing full-time feature films in Hollywood. And in order to run these big-time games, power is going to matter. Most gamers, including me, standing there with waving my hand for everyone to see up close and personal. I have personally never played on PC, and I have no intentions of playing on that platform. I'm a more plug and play kind of a dude. I want to download a game digitally or put a disc in there, and I want it to run. I don't want to worry about sound cards and drivers and graphic chips and nothing like that. It's just that's why these consoles are still relevant in 2019 and will be continuing to be relevant. And power is going to be at the forefront of everything we talk about moving forward. Now, I put in the title, we had some breaking information, and I want to kind of talk about that because it's relevant to what Microsoft is doing for the rumored 2020 release, November 2020 release, more specifically, thanks to a friend of the show, Brad Sams, who was talking about this last night on Xbox Nation. The information I'm going to break, it really does put a big question mark as to what Sony is doing. And I know this is an Xbox show, but they're the biggest rival. And we have to talk about how this new information could be damaging to Sony. So if you're a Sony fan, get ready, folks, because it's big. New breaking information comes to us courtesy of Gadgets360.com, and they are reporting that a Tokyo-based Securities Economic Research Institute representative, Yasuyo Imanka, via an interview with a gaming blog known as Twinfinite, and I know them, they're really good, says that the PlayStation 5 could be out between April 2021 and March 2022. Now, again, this is a businessman, a security businessman's opinion. This is not fact. But Drew, pre-game, you and I were discussing, we both agree that the reason why Sony is not at E3 2019 is because they have nothing to show regarding games. Now, I had this information since yesterday. I didn't tweet about it. I sat on it and I reread the article. And I reread the article a second time. And I said, if you take this information and you match it with skipping Gamescom, skipping E3, canceling PSX, not attending Paris Game Week, I'm sorry to say it starts to make a little more sense here. We know for a fact, this is fact, folks. This isn't fiction. This is an opinion. As it stands right now, Sony does not have the infrastructure for cloud-based gaming like the strength that is what Microsoft has. Yes, and we're going to get into that in a later topic of why Xbox Game Pass is not going to the PS4 and PS5, and I have all the information why that's not going to happen. But as it stands, could they have been caught with their pants down the same way they were caught with their pants down when the Xbox One X was announced, Drew? What do you think about this?
I think there's a lot of weight to that. Like when you initially brought this topic to me, and bear in mind, guys, everyone in the chat, this is quite a spontaneous topic that, like, this wasn't part of the original list of topics. So it hit me like a news flash almost in the last hour or so. and I was just scratching my head too, Boom, a little bit in the because initially, I'll just be honest, my initial response to that topic was this. Pardon me. No, as in like hell no. Like no, I don't see it happening. The PS5 is going to be dropping like 2020 the latest. It'll be the very most 6 months gap between the PS5 and the Xbox Anaconda and Lockout. That was I thought, nah, don't put any stock in this. Don't put any rumors in it. Don't fall prey. But then when you put it like that, Boom, and like literally, I'm just going off what you literally just said. But when you go off that kind of like perspective of the infrastructure, the network, the fact that they are, which falls straight back into the topic we were just talking about with the social media double standard, Xbox Game Pass is a fail versus PlayStation Now becoming a streaming service itself. And the question of will they drop first-party games day and date like Xbox Game Pass? And again, the double standards there. But in order to have that kind of service and that kind of infrastructure, not to mention backwards compatibility and PlayStation Network, and we've speculated before, Boom, that the reason why they don't do cross-play as much as like the other platforms are touting they can do is because of their lackluster network. And it just makes me think, again, off the back of what you just said, it makes perfect sense. I'm not saying it's a fact here. I'm not saying that this guy and what he's saying is fact. I'm taking it with the same grain of salt as you. But after Boom put it so eloquently, the way he just did, and how he broke it down in his perspective of could it be the fact that they're postponing the drop of the PS5 so they can work on their network and their infrastructure? Because we know PlayStation can develop a good console, Boom, don't we? We know they can develop. Listen, hardware's on lock. We know they can develop hardware.
Absolutely.
But obviously, we talk about power and does it matter? And it comes straight down to this. Power is one thing, but it's housing the power, it's housing the network, it's housing the software and the infrastructure and all these things that needs to progress. And frankly, PlayStation has been a pretty big standstill when it comes to its network and its infrastructure since around the PS3 era. So I think, from what you're saying, Boom, again, pinch of salt taken, guys. I'm not saying it's fact, but it sounds like it could potentially be a factor here, Boom, that they might be just giving themselves that extra bit of time so they can like fortify and rebuild and strengthen their infrastructure ready for the future and the more powerful systems and the bigger online games. And it all falls into the same argument that we were talking about a minute ago about double standard, like some of the things we brought up, like with things moving forward, power and all that stuff. It's one of those things that we just said it then with regards to the network. And I do think that could be a very viable a bit of information. I think there's potential for that to be the case, based on what you're saying as well, Boom. Like, I'm literally going off what you're saying. It sounds likely to me.
Well, I mean, look, again, I'm sorry to have dropped that breaking news information right in the middle of a topic. I normally don't do that, but I thought it kind of worked with what we're talking about, the double standards. And one of the factors with the PlayStation 5 rumors that have been coming out is that it's going to be fully backwards compatible with the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PS3, and PS4. And I got to be honest with you, I'm very excited as a gamer, but I'm even more excited for the Sony community for a lot of reasons, Drew. Because they're going to get to experience what the Xbox gamers have been using for quite some time, and we now have 3 generations worth of history, Xbox history, to play on a current console. And obviously, you hear the fire trucks in the background. This show is heating up, so we might have the firemen in here doing the podcast with me. I'll see. But you know what I find absolutely hilarious, that I've seen several members of the very vocal PlayStation community citing that this news, and it's big news, Drew, there's no doubt about it, being the cherry on top for the PlayStation 5. And I've actually heard the words generation over before it starts. I thought playing old games was lame and inconsequential. What are your takes on this?
Who wants to play old games? God damn it! Honest, boom, honest to God, if the ponies said it once, they said it a million times. It got to a point where I literally was numb to it, boom. It was the only response from those guys over there. Like, look, not the, again, just to be very clear, when we're on about the ponies and stuff, guys, we are on about the fanatics, the trolls, the blind, hoof clickers, as we put them, not the fan of the PlayStation. People who are just fans, big ups to you. I respect your preference. But these people, boom, and I could even name a few, but I'm not going to because I'm not giving them the limelight. But
well, we don't do that anyway. We don't do name shaming. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. What I will not stand for is bullying. And you and I have discussed it privately. We will stand up to that shit immediately.
Absolutely. And but these people were relentless. I remember when backwards compatibility was announced, and of course, naturally, it was probably one of the few times in gaming history that IGN had a boner for Xbox, because it was great news. How could anyone hate the idea of backwards compatibility, the ability to play your older games on your current system? Every system should have it, period. There's no two ways about it. But naturally, the ponies, the fanatics, left and right, what were they saying, boom? Who wants to play old games? Old games are garbage. Why would you want to play your old games? What's the point in playing old games? No one wants that. The same people who were for the whole, oh yeah, we don't need EA access, Yoshida was right all along. These people fall into the hands of like whatever they're told. They're literally sheep. And now, because PS5, it's buyer's remorse, boom. It's a simple case of buyer's remorse. People want to be able to play their older games, but because their system didn't allow it, they defended it because they're blind fanatics, hence the pony. But now that it's actually rumored to be fully backwards compatible with every single generation before it, silence. Silence. No one's saying who wants to play old games anymore. Like you said, it's, generation over, PS5 have taken it. It's like, hold the bus. Rewind the clock for me a second, boom. Wasn't it these same people who claimed that our generation was over because we had backwards compatibility? And now they're saying that they've won the generation.
Generation over. Yeah, generation over.
Because they have, because they're going to have potentially backwards compatibility. Not only are they late to the party, but they just sound ridiculous. I just wish some of these people would just go, scroll up on their timelines back to a few tweets they did a year previous or 2 years previous, and just be like, oh shit, I bet, if I say this, I'm going to look an idiot because I said this back then. Honestly, it's comical, boom. It's one thing for people to claim media bias and this, that, and the other, but we are pointing out the social media double standard, which is equally as cancerous as media bias, and it is equally present. And we are stating and pointing out specific cases which are undeniable at this point, and this is just one of them. And the whole fact that all of a sudden backwards compatibility is on the top of everyone's list over there at PlayStation Land, when 2 minutes ago they were raking us over the coals for having it, it is nothing short of hypocrisy and hilarious, and I love it.
Yeah, you know what? I want people to understand, because look, this is a welcoming channel, right? It's an Xbox show, but since its inception, you have never heard me dump on the PlayStation brand, because I would be a fool and a fraud. I support Sony in multiple levels. I have a PS4 Pro. I have 200 games for my Pro. I have over 40 games for my PlayStation VR. I love that system so much that I upgraded to the new one that launched last year with the HDMI pass-through, the HDR pass-through. No one does that unless you're a fan. So no one's dumping on Sony. But, again, in this day of social media being right in your face, and because Drew and I are, public figures, if you will, with fans, and I got to be honest with you folks, saying that out loud makes me embarrassed to think that I actually have fans, because I don't want fans. I want friends. And that's why I interact with everyone that comes into this chat personally. It's something I go out of my way to do, because, that's the kind of guy I am. I like interacting with everyone, and everyone to me is on the same level. But you know what? I want to move on to the next topic, Drew, because we have a lot. And I mean, this is like we talked prior. The last couple of shows, it's given me a little bit of anxiety trying to get Xbox topics. And this particular week, there's a plethora of information. But I want to talk about something that's important. And this is actually, it's so big that it's going to be this topic and the next one, because it just was too much to put into one topic. So I broke it down into two different ones. Drew, last week, new information leaked that was reported upon by all the big outlets surrounding the likelihood of Xbox Live and Xbox Game Pass, and of course the Xbox app coming to the Nintendo Switch platform. Now, of course, this caused quite a ruckus within this the gaming space, more particularly the Xbox camp. Now, I don't name names because everyone, like I said, is entitled to their opinion. But my goodness, the amount of people calling for Phil Spencer's head was nothing short of embarrassing. Okay? There was talk of the sky is falling at Redmond. There were individuals who are in Xbox people, Xbox gamers first and foremost, that were crying foul. Like this is some sort of a revelation, and that Microsoft dropped this mega bomb without any warning whatsoever. Okay? Now I'm going to say this. This is my opinion. Teaming up with Nintendo is one of the biggest and potentially smartest moves Microsoft has done since the creation of the OG Xbox. Now, before we get into the actual specifics, I wanted to read a few tweets from Xbox Inside Man, Clobriel. This is what he had to say, and I found it very interesting. A lot of stuff you are hearing these days will be true. Not too much into the details, but Xbox going forward will have an ecosystem you play your games in, independent from hardware. And no, this doesn't mean Xbox hardware will stop or anything. It's about the options. And he continued with, I see way too many people focusing on the hardware. The hardware, in quotes, only limits people Xbox can reach with their ecosystem and games. It's an artificial barrier. A gamer playing Sea of Thieves on a different device via xCloud is still an Xbox customer using Xbox Live, etc. And the last quote, all that said, Microsoft obviously knows people are into their ecosystem for great hardware too. Hence, why the next Xbox hardware will be the best on the market, one premium device, one value console. I've already talked about this earlier. Now, I want you, Drew, to give me your opinion on this matter. And the first question I have for you is, why are Xbox gamers so disturbed, so freaked out by Microsoft expanding their revenue through streaming and using Xbox Game Pass to its fullest potential?
Oh, boom, my man. I've gotten the green light from no other than Pink Floyd. The rant is coming, baby.
Let's do this.
Well, I tell you now, Boom, like, people can say that I'm a pony hater, I hate PlayStation. I did have a lot of negative things to say regarding the fanatical part of the fan base over at PlayStation, but this rant now is aimed solely at the Xbots, the Xbox fanboys, and I will explain why. First and foremost, Boom, let's just break it down. You will never, and I repeat to everyone in the chat, to you specifically, Boom, you will never, ever please everyone. That is a fact. So I'm not at all surprised that there are individuals that are displeased with this information. But I am also going to address those people. I'm going to address everyone who has had something negative to say about this news. And I use the word news lightly because it's not really new information, which is what news stands for.
Yes.
But I'm going to personally address these people. Wake the fuck up! Crawl out from under that rock you've been living under. Where the hell have you been? Massive question mark there, Boom. Because, oh mate, honest to God, like, are these people serious, Boom? Like,
Yes, they are serious.
are they literally just woken up from a 5-year coma? Like, seriously. Right. Now, next, on a less aggressive note, I just want to say that I have seen this new direction coming for years now, as have you, as has Salty, as has Micro, as has E-Rock, as has anyone with half a brain cell that has been following Xbox in the last, like, this generation will have seen it. We have seen this coming for years. It's been a slow climb, and now they are close to executing their long in the making, repeat that again, long in the making plan of creating a brand across devices. Xbox is going to be a service which will be accessible across multiple devices. It's the most profitable and pro-consumer way of reaching as many gamers as humanly possible. The team at Xbox HQ are going to be making more money, ordering more pizzas, and buying more Lamborghinis than ever before. So why in the world does Joe Bloggs in his mummy's basement care that his games are available on other devices? It makes no sense to me, Boom. How well or bad Xbox does as a business has literally zero effect on the gaming community. That it goes for me and you as well. Unless the business was in fact failing and they were pulling out of the gaming community, then I would understand the upset as people's favorite game franchises and studios that they have supported for years, like your Halos and your Gears, would go down with the ship. But, and this is a big but, Boom, and it's a very positive but, in this instance, with Xbox reaching out to all gamers, it's the exact opposite. Essentially, you will have untethered access to your library of games. You still buy your games. You still subscribe to Xbox Live. You still subscribe to Xbox Game Pass. You still benefit from everything as an Xbox fan. But the hardware you play your games on won't be confined to one box under your TV. In a nutshell, more gamers reached equals more gamers purchasing Xbox services and games equals more money in Xbox's pocket equals more games and studios created for Xbox fans equals everyone wins. It is literally a win-win-win. If I'm just calling a spade, Boom, the only people kicking up a fuss are Xbox fanboys that want to keep fighting this, oh, my box is better than your box bullshit war, that, you know, or this look at my list of games versus your list of games bullshit. But what they fail to see is the fact that Xbox games are still Xbox games, and only Xbox as a company and Xbox fans will benefit regardless of what platform the games are accessed on. And as for having the Xbox One under your TV, which I'll be getting personally, that option will still be available if you wish to have it, with Anaconda and Lockhart being the leading platforms, which are already dubbed to lead in power, which is a concern a lot of people have and what we just touched on the previous topic. So I'll end on this, Boom, because I think I've said it all. As I have said, and I've said it, you know, before, it has never been more the case than it is right now moving forward that Xbox is the home of options. And that's literally all they're doing here.
Look, first of all, that was a magnificent rant that had a substance, it had power, it had facts, it had information. You know, I have to say this, you know, and I sound like a broken record. Being a gamer who's been in the business for a very long time, I have seen the industry grow in ways I never thought possible. This walled off garden that certain YouTubers that will go unnamed, certain gamers, certain community members of the Twitterverse that have gone on record and completely jumped off a ledge into the freezing water have you have no idea how you sound. I really suggest reading before you hit send and possibly rereading a second time. We have seen, Drew, in this community, people completely go from Xbox channels to completely Sony channels because of this information. We have seen people that have been longtime Xbox fans that go out of their way to make sure that you know the Xbox is the best box and completely have did a 180. Listen, the future is in front of us. Okay, Microsoft is, you know, it's funny because Phil Spencer said he was going to hit He wanted to get the 2 billion gamers that will be available by 2020. And the only way you can do that is to be on everything. And, when talking about everything, I know that it was a big topic. Again, it was such a big topic that I had to break it down into two different topics, because the big, I don't know what you want to call it. We can say a ruckus, but I'm going to give everyone that's in 132 people, only 30 minutes into the show. My God, people, thank you so much for being here. You don't understand. This warms my heart to see this kind of response that both Drew and I are getting for the Xbox Factor podcast. It does mean the world to us. Now, for this topic, and this is all facts, okay? This is an opinion. This is all facts. I did the research. I'm going to give everyone in the chat that's listening now, I'm going to give everyone that's going to listen later 380 million reasons why the Xbox app and Xbox Game Pass will not be on the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5. And there are several people within this community that have been screaming that the end of the world is nigh. The Xbox platform is ruined. And I say it's utterly ridiculous and has no merit, Drew. We both have been talking about this privately, and I'm going to break down in 3 subtopics and get your opinion on each subtopic as to why this ridiculous notion is not going to happen. Okay?
Alrighty.
The main reason, Drew, is that Sony is very stubborn, and they will never allow the Microsoft app on the PlayStation 4 or in the future on the PlayStation 5. As of this show, the only games that are allowed crossplay are 2: Fortnite and Rocket League, and that's it. Now, if they will not allow for full-on crossplay, cross progression, how does anyone have any merit whatsoever to suggest that they're going to allow their direct competitor onto that platform? We keep reading that Sony's brass are picking favorites when it comes to crossplay. Many developers have spoken out about this issue, and Sony's old way of thinking will prevent this from ever becoming a conversation regarding X-Play. And that is why, Drew, I find it laughable that certain people are crying foul about a rumor. The Nintendo Switch move is in full effect. And though neither Nintendo or Xbox has confirmed that, we have a lot of inside sources saying that that's true. My question to you, Drew, is, does what I'm saying have merit? Does it have facts backing it up?
I've got, if you don't mind, Boom, I have an answer for you, but it's quite a large answer.
You take as much time as you want.
The question is simple, Boom, and you've laid it out for me so brilliantly, as always. You make my job a hell of a lot easier. But there's this pretty simple explanation as to why it's not going to go to the PlayStation platform. And that is simple. The reason being, Sony would literally never allow it to happen. This generation has literally been filled with anti-consumer practices from PlayStation, with the main one, as you just mentioned, Boom, the lack of cooperation in the cross-play department. They've even willingly accepted the fact that Bethesda probably won't be developing games for that system anymore, just because they don't want to adhere to crossplay. So that department is truly lost when it comes to PlayStation, with the exception of a couple of games. And I think they've only handpicked those games because they're profitable, not because it's pro-consumer. It's because they're making money some way, shape, or form. And that's just, and that's when that is literally, like when you look at Fortnite or Rocket League, those are third-party games that are already available on all platforms anyway.
Thank you. Yes, logic. You're speaking too much. You're giving me too much information. That's the truth, bro. I think I'm gonna have to throw you off the panel.
I'm so sorry, Boom. I think everyone in the chat doesn't like me as well. They don't. People, everyone's like, get that Welsh off of here. But no, those are third-party games as well, Boom, which is crazy. And so you know full well that they're never going to allow Xbox exclusives to be housed on their platform if they're not going to allow crossplay with third party. It's just common sense. But with that said, I got to say this though, Boom. I could be wrong. I'm just speculating and playing devil's advocate. But personally, I'm unsure on whether to believe that Xbox would allow it neither. Now I throw this out there because it's clearly not a rivalry or a hatred kind of thing, because we know how open-hearted Phil and team are over there at Xbox. I think they would happily, in some respects, have their Xbox games on other platforms, as is going to be demonstrated with Nintendo Switch most likely. But with the grand scheme of things, I think with this Xbox Anywhere initiative, it doesn't really make sense for Xbox to put their Xbox app on PlayStation. I'll tell you why. It's one thing that they're having a partnership with Nintendo, because Nintendo is a platform. Well, Xbox is a platform with Nintendo. They want to reach as many gamers on the move with Play Anywhere.
Correct.
And let's face it, Boom, Nintendo has been the king of handheld on-the-move gaming for as long as I can remember. So it makes logistical sense on a business front to allow Xbox's services like Xbox Game Pass to be accessible on the Nintendo Switch as an added option for untethered access to your games on the move wherever you are. So when it comes to PlayStation, being that PlayStation is it's obviously a direct competitor. They're obviously not friends. They're obviously, they made it quite clear that they're not going to be inviting each other to their weddings. And PlayStation is going to be another static box, which Xbox already has a static box option. So I was kind of fiddling with the idea that it makes, when you break it down, it makes sense why they've potentially approached Nintendo with this idea, because they are going to be reigning supreme in the handheld side of things, and it'll make the games more accessible on the move. But I will say this though, if the only thing standing between Xbox services being available on PlayStation is Sony and their stubbornness, which, let's be fair, Boom, is 99 million% the case, then they're fools, really. I'll say this much, from a business perspective, not a gamer's perspective, but a business perspective, PlayStation would be fools to not agree to those terms if Xbox was offering to put their services on the platform, because it would only benefit the PlayStation and its player base, as there are plenty of gamers, and believe me, we both will know at least a few individuals that prefer PlayStation for its single player exclusives.
Yes.
But they love the Xbox so they can play with their friends. Or they prefer PlayStation, but they enjoy playing multiplayer on Xbox. There's certain cases where you're going to have an individual who prefers PlayStation, but it does enjoy playing online with their Xbox friends as well. So instead of having to go out and buy two systems and you're giving the other platform a sale, this would be a solid unit sale for Sony, and its ecosystem will only grow and get stronger as the individual isn't being forced to buy an Xbox as well to play with his or her friends. So Sony will in fact be winning in the unit sale war, which is what they love. Their best exclusive this generation has been unit sales, and that's been their biggest announcement all year. Like, oh guys, look at our new game. It's called Unit Sales. So personally, I really don't see the harm. And like I've said before, people that are up in arms over this are more than likely Xbox fanboys that still want to play, my console is better than your console. But when you break it down, there's so many avenues you can take with this one. But I honestly do think, in a nutshell, in my opinion, I can't see it going to PlayStation for all those reasons. I just think whether it's an Xbox decision or more than likely a PlayStation arrogance decision, either way, it's probably safest to go down.
Well, I mean, look, what you said was not long-winded at all. It was the truth. It had a lot of facts, which is, of course, what we deal in here. And you know what, dude? We have a lot more to go on this particular topic. Subtopic number 2 has this to be said. On June 30th, 2012, Sony purchased Gaikai, and if you're unfamiliar, you didn't know, it's a cloud-based company for $380 million. And this is way back in 2012. And why is that? So why is that an important talking piece? For some reason, people make fun of the Xbox platform, the cloud, the cloud, the cloud. Well, guess what, folks? Sony was thinking about the cloud 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Okay, so it's an important piece of tech in gaming moving forward. Sony saw the writing on the wall and invested all this money. Now, the CEE boss at the time, Andrew House, stated that Gaikai has tremendous engineering and talent and game platform knowledge, that this purchase would lead to unparalleled cloud entertainment experiences. Now, I'm no business major by any stretch of the truth, Drew, but I can say with full understanding that because of this $380 million investment, Sony was able to implement PS Now digital services, which in many ways, thanks to some serious upgrades, they are now allow downloads on their games, right? They currently have 233 titles, okay? Now, for new subscribers, you can get the first month of PS Now for $10, and each month after that is $20, or you can pay $99 for the entire year. But this is where it gets this is where the more information you have, you can see which is the better value. They only have 20 PS4 games in there. That's it, out of the 233. So all the other stuff are older games. This is the major reason why they're not going to allow it. I want to get your opinion on this. Sony is not going to cannibalize their own digital service and allow an Xbox app or Xbox Live on that platform. From a common sense point of view, it should be easily understood, Drew. Why isn't it?
No, mate. That's it's like it's so counterintuitive. It's like Xbox has Xbox Game Pass, which is doing incredibly well. PlayStation is clearly smelling the gravy and going, right, we've got this cloud thing in place. We haven't really tapped into it. Xbox Game Pass is taking names and taking bloody, we are the console leader. We need to represent. So, that's why I said in the topic earlier, when we were talking about double standards, one of my things was, as a separate note, was the Xbox Game Pass versus PS Now becoming a streaming service. And I asked the question, will they eventually drop all first-party games from PlayStation day and date on their PS Now service? And I think that's
they would never do that.
Case.
They would never do that.
Well, Sony's very they're very every pound's a prisoner, or every dollar's a prisoner with Sony. That's plain to see. But I mean, it does open the question, like, is that where this service is going? Are they going to be like replicating their own version of the Xbox Game Pass? But either way, however you look at it, it's safe to say that if they're going to be doing, taking PS Now to the next level, which is going to be a competitor to Xbox Game Pass, which is the Netflix of gaming, and that is the future, then why the hell, and you said it best, why the hell would you allow the competitor's streaming service on your box if you have your own competing streaming service?
Exactly.
Like it is literally like two goats in a field butting heads for this. It's just stupid. It's just stupid, man.
Well,
but no, you said it best, Boom.
Look, real quick before we move on to subtopic number 3, and I think it's another common sense one, but it's going to make sense as soon as I talk about it. I have to give a couple of shout outs here. First of all, Gotham Guy with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, "Well said, Welsh and Boom. You guys were right on the money. Could you guys please explain to the crap gamer to put his mind at ease? Listen, as you heard in Crossfire last week, the crap gamer and I went at it. I think it was the most we've ever gone at it with each other. We both have strong opinions, and I'm not going to talk about the guy. He has his, I have mine. He is an old school. He has an old school way of thinking. For someone that's such a big Xbox fan, he wants to live in this closed world, this closed garden, if you will, with the Xbox brand. I said to him live on the air, and I'll say it live on the air. If you remember, he was freaked out to the point of delirium when Xbox Game Pass was announced. You guys remember that? I don't know what episode it was, but he lost his shit then, and he's losing his shit again. And the second shout out I have to give is UK Dazarus, friend of the community, friend of Mr. Boomstick in Welsh. He with the outstanding $2 super chat, and he says, and I think he did this on purpose, everyone is scared of the Welsh's nipples. Well, I don't want to know about that, but listen, he's entitled to his opinion because he dropped the super chat. But let's move on to subtopic number 3. And I think this one is the defining exclamation point, if you will, on the topic. EA Access was denied entry to the PlayStation brand way back on July 30th, 2014. And according to a Sony unnamed representative relaying the message for the Sony brass, this is what they had to say on the matter. We evaluated EA Access subscription offerings and decided that it does not bring the kind of value PlayStation customers have come to expect. This is from a Sony's unnamed spokesperson. Okay. Now, leadership then continued with PlayStation Plus members are up more than 200% at the time since the launch of the PS4, which shows that gamers are looking for membership that offers a multitude of services across various devices for one low price. The comments continue. We don't think asking our fans to pay an additional $5 a month for this EA specific program represents, and I quote, good value to the PlayStation gamer and customer. Now, as of today's show, EA Access is still not available. There have been rumors floating around. They've been circulating the last couple of months that it's coming, but so far, nothing. Drew, all of the reasons are why this will not happen, or why the future is very clear to where Microsoft will be landing Xbox Game Pass, the Xbox app, and Xbox Live. And I think that all 3 of these major reasons are why it will not be on the PS4 and the PS5, but the EA Access is the nail in the coffin to this topic.
Well, it just cements their mentality. Like, they will tell the gamer that you don't have the option to choose. Like, EA Access, they might be right when they say, oh, we don't want, it's not fair for people to want to spend $5 a month extra. You might have a point there, dude, whoever it is talking. I don't know the exact name. Did you say it was Andrew House or something? I don't know.
No, it was it was a Sony representative that dropped all this information for Sony's brass.
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, fair point, mate. I see your argument. But give your player base the option to decide for themselves if they want to pay $5 extra a month. Like, for me, EA Access is a great service. I've been an EA Access member for a long time. I get all my games like however many days early. Just to put things into perspective, Sony sank thousands, millions, however much money it was to lock the Star Wars Battlefront 2 marketing deals, and also
Red Dead Redemption 2, yes.
Yeah, well, and Red Dead 2. But speaking of Battlefront 2, because it's an EA game, they locked that down with the promise of, PlayStation will get it 5 days early or whatever. And as an EA Access member, I had it a week early.
Yeah,
so
you did.
Xbox didn't even pay for the marketing deals, and I still got to play it a week early. And I got a 10-hour trial before I'd even paid for the game. And you're telling me that service isn't like worth the $5? It just blows my mind. But like I said, without going into the statistics and this and that, because I can go on all day about EA Access, but what that EA Access debacle sort of cements from the 3 points you pointed out, Boom, is just that is their mindset. They're not for the gamer. They're not for the gaming industry. They're not for the growth and well-being of the ecosystem and the community. They are in it for themselves and themselves alone. And it's been that way for a long time. And people who want to argue differently are fucking morons, because it's not. It's literally, honestly, it's so plain. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Xbox and team aren't doing what they do to make money. We're all, they're all in it for money. We're not stupid, but they're still very, very pro-consumer, and they do what the gamer wants, and they don't shit where they eat. They're quick to,
very good point.
Honestly, they're quick to help out. Like, just look what happened with you with your Elite controller and Aaron Greenberg. Do you think for 1 second, if this was on the other foot and your controller had broken over at PlayStation, you put out a tweet saying, "Oh, gutted, guys"? Do you honestly think Yoshida would be in your DMs going, "Yo, Boom, I'll help you out, brother"? No, hell the fuck no. Honestly,
yeah,
man,
I would probably would have gotten an email to say, "Okay, send it in, and it's $50 to fix your controller."
Honestly, no, exactly. I know. Send us £600 for shipping as well, and we'll sort you right out. No problem there, Boom. But no, honestly, that EA Access topic, subtopic, just cements overall the topic that we're discussing, and that is the reason it's not going to go to PlayStation. Is a multitude of business sense reasons and logical reasons, but also, even if Xbox straight up said, "Yo, PlayStation, here you go," blah 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 blah, those guys over there, you would have more chance of getting shit out of a rocking horse than them allowing you to have your Xbox. Honestly, if they're not letting you have Game Pass, they're not letting you, not the Game Pass, if they're not letting you have backwards compatibility, if they're not letting you have cross-play with your friends on other platforms, if they're not letting you have EA Access, if they're deciding all these things for you, like, oh man, it just says so much about them as a business and their mindset. Sorry if I keep going on, Boom.
No, dude, listen, this is a conversational podcast about Xbox, and your points are valid.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, man. But yeah, as you said, it is the nail in the coffin. If those three sub points and that EA Access one alone, like, just doesn't push it in everyone's face that it's never going to happen, then
yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Listen, before we move on to the next topic, I have to do a big shout out. A couple of things here. First of all, Harry Heck with the outstanding $5 super chat, and he says Sony isn't into singing "Kumbaya" and holding hands with Microsoft. Therefore, PS Now will never follow suit with the Xbox Game Pass model. Competition 101 equals find your niche. And that's a fantastic point. Real quick, also, I just saw that we had 183 people in the chat, which has broken records today on today's show. That is absolutely outstanding. I've seen several people in the in the chat that are new, and I want to say welcome to to the show. I thank you so much for stopping by. It doesn't matter whether you're a Sony guy, whether you're like me, and you support all three consoles. Your opinion matters. And I've seen some nasty ones in there. And you know what? Listen, folks, this is a nice chat. This is a friendly chat. I'm not telling you not to join. I'm not saying to leave. I'm saying that if you're coming here to make trouble, understand that there are two people that moderate this show that have 100% authority to bounce you if you're going to be a troublemaker. So if you want to talk. You want to have fun. You want to be a pony, you want to be an Xbot, whatever. As long as it's friendly, I'm okay with it. The minute you start going out of bounds, I'm not even going to give you a timeout. I'm going to bounce you. This is a proper chat where gamers are coming here to talk. See that? I didn't say Xbox gamers. I didn't say Sony gamers. I said gamers as a general umbrella. So understand that if you're here and you're new, I say welcome with open arms. I'll give you a big hug. Officer friendly, 84 on the scene. But if you're a dick, understand, I will cut your legs out from underneath you and bounce you. Okay? I run a proper channel and I like a friendly chat. Now, with all of that said, let's move on to the next topic.
Absolutely.
Microsoft reportedly plans to discuss next-gen Xbox consoles at E3 2019. This almost confirms a fall 2020 release. And we are now hearing from Brad Sams that we might actually get a look at what these consoles actually look like at E3 2019. Now, Drew, Phil Spencer's promise of fixing the platform when he was promoted in 2017, where he sits and reports directly next to Satya Nadella, is all coming to fruition in the form of the best talent of all 13 and counting first-party studios. Now, more information via Reddit, so take this with a grain of salt, suggests that the Xbox first-party studios could balloon to as many as 20 by the year 2021. That's an additional 7 studios coming as first party games, folks. I'm getting goosebumps talking about this. 20. Could you imagine that? Now, I pulled this article from TheVerge.com, and it says Sony may have decided to skip the video games industry's largest annual expo this year, but Microsoft plans are to be the biggest in the company's history come E3 2019, and we are expecting them to blow us away. Now, French gaming news outlets Jeuxvideo is reporting that Microsoft plans to discuss the next-gen Xbox lineup as well. And this is very interesting. Again, this is a topic that was so big, I had to break it down into 2. So now we're going to talk about hardware. And the article continues, Drew, with this. We likely will not get any pricing details or actual product names, the report states, but we'll certainly get some official confirmation of the 2 devices Microsoft is planning to release in 2020. The news lines up with the company's slow and steady approach to unveiling its future console roadmap following the launch of the Xbox One X in 2017. Last December, the code names for both of these consoles leaked. We know one is Anaconda, and we know the other one is Lockhart. The 2 consoles that are in development they're doing a strategy very similar to the Xbox S and Xbox S, a good/better approach, and they look like they're going to be applying the same technique to next year's consoles, and I think it's going to work for the company. The other rumors have a higher end Anaconda containing, and this is important, folks. This is where we're going to start talking tech. Solid state drives for both the Anaconda and diskless variant Lockhart. Additionally, Jeuxvideo is reporting that, as rumored, the newest Xbox devices will be fully backwards compatible with current generation of hardware, and that Halo Infinite is going to be a launch title for both of these, when they come out. Now, I have the actual specs in front of me. I'm not a big tech dude, I'm going to be honest with you. So I'm going to read verbatim of what they leaked, and then we're going to talk about it. The Xbox Lockhart specs has the GPU as a custom 8 cores, 16 Zen threads 2. The GPU is a custom Navi 4+ teraflops. And the reason why the plus is in there is because they could add an additional 2, making it 6. The RAM is 12 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory, and it's, of course, going to come with a 1 terabyte NVMe plus 1 gigabyte SSD hard drive. Now we're talking Anaconda specs, Drew. It's going to have a CPU, which is going to be a custom 8 cores, 16 Zen threads 2. The GPU is going to be a custom Navi 12+ teraflops, and we're hearing it could go as high as 14, which is ridiculous. The RAM is 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory, and the storage, again, is the same as the 1 terabyte NVMe, 1+ gigabyte SSD hard drive. Now, the SSD hard drive is look, these numbers are impressive. Okay, there's no doubt about it. This is going to be, I don't want to say it's going to be a monster, like it's going to be like the X. it's going to be a powerhouse. There is no doubt about it. I think this is these two specs could be the reason why Sony may withhold the release of the PlayStation 5 in 2020, because if they come in between, they're not matching power. And if Microsoft brings the games like we think they're going to bring, and we're going to talk about that after this topic, they're going to be stuck. You can't release a new console in 2020 and then in 2021 have an upgrade. You're going to piss off your fan base. Drew, now these specs are ridiculous and glorious at the same time, but I want to get your opinion on it. What are your takes from the leak from the French site Jew Video?
Well, as I've said before, Boom, and I'll say it again just for people in the chat. I'm not a tech guru by any stretch of the imagination. Looking at these numbers, reading between the lines on some of the things that I kind of understand, it's safe to presume, in a nutshell, in layman's terms, ladies and gentlemen, the Lockhart is going to be a beautiful, beautiful machine, and the Anaconda is going to be its roided out uncle. Honestly, I reckon the Anaconda is going to be a very, very interesting piece of equipment. I personally can't wait to see it unveiled. That goes for Lockhart as well. I'm looking forward to E3 2019 for a lot of reasons. We'll get into the games in a moment. But as for the hardware, I mean, I got to say, Boom, one of the most exciting things about the last couple of E3s is when they unveiled the S, and we were like, oh, wow. And then like an hour later, they were like unveiling like the silhouette of the Project Scorpio. And it was like, oh, like it was literally a minefield of excitement for me. And then for the official unveiling of the Xbox One X, those are memories I will take with me to my grave, because and it's because of just like the sheer excitement. I do think that the Anaconda and the Lockhart are going to have the same level of anticipation because of what, and this boils down to what we were saying before about how power does matter. Like, people can kid themselves in saying that it doesn't, but people get excited for new toys, and in gaming, in the case of gaming,
yes,
mate, they do. People can deny it, but they do. And in terms of consoles, and this goes for PlayStation and Nintendo, people get excited to see what the next big bad boy is going to be. And in Xbox's case, it's the Anaconda. And I really, honestly, Boom, can't wait to see how it looks. I can't wait to see it demonstrated. I can't wait to see the first party demonstrations on that. I can't wait to see that little bit of writing underneath like some gameplay where it says all captured on the Xbox Anaconda.
Oh my God, yes.
Do you know what I mean? And
yes.
I mean, the reason I'm taking a very roundabout, beat around the bush sort of like layman's terms approach to this topic is because I'm not dealer and I'm not D-batch. I can't break down each and every number and letter and give you the statistics and give you this, give you that. But I can give you a perspective of a gamer who is really enjoying my Xbox One X, and is very much excited to see what all these numbers can do for me as a know-nothing, slack-jawed yokel Welsh gamer. I'm very much excited, Boom. It's going to be good shit, man. And with regards to PlayStation postponing because of this, I gotta be honest. I mean, I know like I said, I took it with a pinch of salt. What you said had merit, it had weight, and I think that it is just as much of a likely reason as any for why they are postponing, because of their infrastructure, their network, things needing fixing on the inside. But with regards to the actual hardware, I do think Sony isn't phased by what Xbox is doing. Whereas they probably should be, because the Xbox One X was literally the monster unleashed. They prodded the ball for years, saying powers this, powers that, and look what happened. The One X came out, and it literally laid waste to Sony in terms of power. But in terms of like a new generation moving forward, and I've said that the three things you need is power, a good lineup of games, and marketing. PlayStation already has marketing on lock, an incredible lineup of first party, and their consoles aren't weak by any means. Just because the PS4 Pro wasn't as powerful as the Xbox One X does not mean it was a weak poo shit crap system. And with these systems going neck and neck this generation, they're going to be releasing within the same few months of one another, potentially. I think they're both going to just be in their own lane, doing their own thing, and it's just who's the bigger man at the end of the day. And I do believe on a personal level that the Anaconda is going to definitely be the more powerful system. You just don't know. But E3 is going to be an interesting one. I know PlayStation's not attending, so they can't give us an inkling on what their next system's going to look like or how it's going to perform. But at least on the Xbox side of things, that is one thing I am absolutely 100% buzzing for, Boom, to see with my own eyes because I've said it before, E3 2019, when it comes to their games, studios, and in this case, their hardware, is going to be it's literally going to be a on stage, live and in person,
Oh
a
my God.
roadmap.
I can't wait, dude.
Mate, honestly, it's going to be live and in person, a roadmap, a literal family tree on what is happening in the next however many years. And that goes for every department of the Xbox team.
Yeah, well, listen, dude, the excitement level is through the roof right now. I have to do a couple of shout outs. First of all, Ambassador Zemi, who is an outstanding YouTuber. He was on last week's show. Fantastic dude, very, very knowledgeable. He drops an outstanding $10 super chat. And he says, super pumped for the new generation. The hype is real for E3 2019. Can't wait. Great show today, guys. Thank you so much. And then a very, very good friend of mine, very good friend of the show, James176, with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, I love the show. Enjoy the content. You think if Microsoft and Nintendo do it right, a lot of people will be welcoming the change. Yes, I absolutely agree. Nintendo is Disney of video games, and they just bring a goodness and a smile to everyone's heart, especially mine. And teaming up with Microsoft will do both companies justice. And of course, Gotham Guy, wow, it gets a second super chat for the amount of $10. Thank you so much for that. And he says, I know they probably won't mention price, though, the new consoles, but I hope that the Anaconda is priced at $499. We've already seen the success of what the Xbox One X at that same price, so it would be a sweet spot. And I agree with you. You got to remember, all you have to do is look back to when the PlayStation 3 launched at $600. Now, Boom bought it. In fact, Boom bought that, an extra controller, and every game. Back then, I used to work overtime for games. People used to make fun of me at my job. What are you working for? To pay the mortgage? To buy a new car? To buy a house? No, I'm paying for games. So I bought everything. There's no way in the current economic forecast of not just the United States, but just the world in general. No one is ready for a $600 console. You start getting over 500, you start talking PC. And even though the specs are going to be there, your gaming console is not a PC. And I think Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo understand that anything over $500 they'd be cutting their own legs out, I personally think. But this was a fantastic topic. Oh, wow. Harry Heck, this is outrageous. He drops a $10 super chat. And he says, I'm a PS gamer, and I'm all good with the upcoming games for the PS4 than anything new about the PS5. The better work of optimization they do for the upcoming PS games, the more excited I get for the PS5, but not yet. Hey, listen, dude, I'm right there with you. I have played and beaten every big PlayStation exclusive. I have all the collector's editions. I love their brand. I love their first party. I love their single player experience. I love their adult themed, story driven titles. Again, this is a channel. This show is an Xbox show, sure, but PlayStation gamers are welcome. Xbox gamers, of course, are welcome, and Nintendo Switch PC gamers are welcome. Everyone is welcome, because even though Xbox may not be your first console of choice, it may not even be your third. It doesn't matter. You still have an opinion, and you're welcome here. But Drew, this topic excited you when I sent it to you. It excites me before we even start talking about it. As I explained in the article that we talked about prior, Halo Infinite will be a launch title. This is going to be the first title since the OG Xbox launch, and it's a very big deal. Now, we've talked about launch titles for the Xbox Anaconda / Lockhart in past episodes. But I thought we should revisit it because of the specs leaks and the Halo news. Now, I'm not a gambling kind of a dude, but I wanted to fantasize and speculate at the same time on the potential launch lineup based on what we already think Microsoft's first-party games are working on. Now, I have a lot to say, and I'm gonna break it down, and I'm gonna get your particular your opinion on it, Drew.
Alrighty, Roo.
Okay, the Coalition is working on Gears 5. We all know that, but several rumors have them working on a Perfect Dark reboot, and that could be a huge launch title. Playground Games is apparently working on the Fable reboot, and that screams launch title to me. Turn 10 Studios is hard at work on Forza Motorsport 8, and that's pretty much a locked-in launch title. Double Helix, the makers of the outstanding Killer Instinct, have been rumored to be working on a proper Killer Instinct 2, and that has also a very good possibility as being a launch title. Now let's talk Rare for a second. According to our good friend Clobriel, they have a title in development that's not Sea of Thieves related. Could the new Xbox console launch with a platformer with the words Banjo and Kazooie in the title? It's possible. Now, in Exile, Ninja Theory, and Obsidian Games were purchased by Microsoft in 2018, but not because of what they were currently working on, but what they already had in pre-production. Could those three major first-party studios have something ready to go at launch? Drew, this is a big topic. I said a lot, and I know you have a lot to say. Let's try and break this down and make sense of all of this madness.
Oh, boom, 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 boom. The opportunity here, honest to God, like what Xbox has done in this last year with doubling down on their studios. Like you said about Rare, like I completely forgot about that. But Rare is in fact working on a whole other project that isn't Sea of Thieves related. So we've still got Sea of Thieves, which is the gift that keeps on giving. You know there's going to be more DLC up the line, more support, more shit going on, but you're going to be getting a whole nother project. That's just the one game. And then, oh my God, it's amazing, man. Literally, like, I'll just say this, Boom. Like, I was always very, me and you both were. I've said it to you and you've said it to me as well. We've been very confident in saying that we believed Halo Infinite would be a launch title.
It's so important, dude. It really is.
Mate, it really, really is. You couldn't have said it better. It is very important, not just for Halo as a game and an entity, and as 343 as a development house, for the old school Halo fans, the new school Halo fans. It's not just important for that, but it is also a very important thing to have in place when starting this new generation for Xbox as a platform, because they need to be fired out of fucking cannons, mate. They literally need all the trajectory you can muster, and even just Halo alone, the new Halo Infinite alone, is enough gunpowder to see that happen, to see that cannonball go for miles. That it needs to be done, Boom. So when I say that we were confident, I was always very confident in the fact that it's actually going to be a launch title. It's very exciting to say the least, and I am still, because we can obviously confirm quite, it's common sense, Boom, that Halo Infinite isn't going to be the only game to drop at launch. God, no. It's going to be one of the biggest flagships, but, I'm still holding hopes for Fable, to be alongside it as a launch title. We have literally been speculating that it's Playground Games. And the only thing I can say to the guys in the chat, for people who have lost all hope of a Fable, is I have good news for you. Even if Playground Games aren't looking at a Fable, or aren't making the Fable game, even if Fable isn't in the works just yet, which I can confidently say is not true, but still, we know Playground Games is deep in development with a new open world RPG adventure game or whatever. So even if it's not Fable, we know it's going to be great, and I wouldn't be surprised, given the efficiency and the talent over there at Playground, if that game, whatever it is, fingers crossed, Fable, hashtag cough cough Fable. I'm hoping that though that launches alongside Halo Infinite at launch, whatever that game is, Fable or not, but Playground's new game, and that's just two. And then you bring up Banjo-Kazooie by Rare.
Real quick, I just want to jump in for a second, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, dude.
John Zelvalegas, a big shout out to him. I got it wrong. I don't know why I put it in there, man. I double checked my work. For some reason, I said that Double Helix was working on Killer Instinct 2. That is not, in fact, the case. They were purchased by Amazon. I said that in the chat. It's Iron Galaxy. So I just want, when I'm wrong, I come out and say it. So thank you for the correction, my friend. And please continue with Banjo-Kazooie, because when you said that, my ears perked up. I'm an old school cat. I think everyone knows that. And I think the world is ready for a new Banjo-Kazooie. Take it away, dude.
Oh, mate, well, Banjo-Kazooie is one of the better ones. Like, where do I even begin? Like, the memories of those games, man. I mean, like, there's been a resurgence in this last few years with your Super Lucky's Tale, your Mario Odyssey.
Yes.
You've got Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. You've got the Spyro games.
Yes.
You've got, it's just, what else have we got? Oh, Cuphead. Cuphead's another one. Like, literally, there's been a resurgence. I didn't think I'd ever see it ever happen in this day and age, but people want to see platformers have a place in today's gaming, and Banjo-Kazooie is up there as one of the bigger titles. I'd say it sits pretty with the likes of Mario and Crash Bandicoot. Like, it's up there. It's one of the bigger name titles. So if they're working on that, that'd be huge. To go alongside Playground's new game, Halo Infinite, and your Banjo-Kazooie, those three would be formidable, and very strong opening titles. And just all I can say for certain is, with Halo Infinite is going to be the flagship title for the next gen Xbox, like Halo Combat Evolved was for the Xbox OG. History repeating itself with a numerous amount of titles added on to the plethora of choice. We just mentioned Banjo and whatever Playground's next working on. I can pretty much guarantee those two. Secondly, I just want to say that I fully expect as well all of the new acquisitions that were made in 2018, Boom, to be making their next generation Xbox games, and I wouldn't be surprised if at least half of the launch titles we see, especially the Initiative.
What
the
F is going on at the Initiative?
What the hell is going on at the Initiative? No, but literally, man, honestly, Pink Floyd in the chat said, "Do you think State of Decay 3 will be a launch title?" No, my dude.
No, I don't think so. I think what they're going to do, I think that development house launched a good game with what they had, but they want to release a AAA game, and I don't see that actually happening. I don't know if you agree with this or not, Drew. For maybe 3 years, maybe at least 2022. At the earliest, I think, because they have a lot to answer for. There was a lot about the game that I enjoyed. I put over 60 hours into it. It did get a lot of slack for its multiplayer tethering. It did have its glitches, it did have its bugs, but it was a competent game. Okay, maybe it wasn't a God of War quality AAA game, and I hear you, but it was still a functional, playable game that expanded on the original. Now what they need to do is they need to go back and redesign this game from the ground up with the power of the finances of Microsoft, and be given an opportunity to make a AAA, zombie open world game.
Absolutely. I'm going to give you a clap there, Boom, because those are that is my opinion exactly. And just to be clear, Pink Floyd and anyone in the chat, and Boom knows this already, State of Decay 2 was my game of the year last year, hands down. It was my game of the year of 2018. Absolutely phenomenal game. It had its flaws, but the fun I've had on that game has not been matched yet this generation. And that's saying something, because I've played Red Dead. I'm currently playing Anthem. I've played a lot of games this generation, guys, and for me, State of Decay 2 is the most fun I've had in terms of longevity. So there's a lot of love for that franchise. But Boom said it, and he said it best, and it is absolutely common sense at this point. That game came out last year. It had its flaws. It's going to be, and now that it has been picked up as a first-party studio for Xbox, a lot of money, time, resources, and efforts are going to be put into that title. And essentially, they're going to be taking the formula that is State of Decay 2 and recrafting it from the ground up as a AAA banger. So it'll be worth the wait, but like Boom said, completely agree, probably won't be till like 2022. But back on this topic in terms of launch, I got to say this with regards to the initiative, Boom, because I could talk about Ninja Theory, and no doubt they're working on something. We can speculate all day, like which acquisitions are going to be working on what, because there's a lot of new acquisitions, and like you said, it's growing, and it's likely going to be hitting around the 20 studio mark by the time this generation ends and the new one begins. So there's really no saying who is working on what for when. But and it'd be stupid for us to say that every single acquisition we saw at E3 is going to be creating a launch title for the Xbox next generation console. That's just not happening. It's going to be a few of them, no doubt. And with that said, we've mentioned a couple already, but I personally do believe, Boom, that the initiative, what the hell are they working on in the initiative? I am 99% confident that they are going to release at least one new IP at launch, because they are definitely, Boom, without a doubt, as we have all more or less confirmed already, they are working on multiple projects over there. They got so many chefs, they can't be making the same freaking soup. They're obviously all dabbling in different things. One's making the starter, one's making the main. Like in this instance, the initiative are working on multiple different things, and I think the initiative is going to be at least giving us one new IP at launch out of however many they're working on. But it's exciting shit, man. Like, we can speculate, and none of us actually know. But I think you're onto something, Boom. Like a new Killer Instinct. Battletoads, someone just said in the chat, Battletoads. Maybe they're going to hold that one until the launch. I don't know. I don't know what the date is for that one. Maybe it's already been given a release date. But Halo Infinite, Playground Games, Rare, the Initiative, those four games / studios, are going to be definitely launching day one for the next gen console. And it's exciting shit, man. Really exciting stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely, dude. Listen, there is a lot to be excited about as an Xbox fan. I know that it's been a tough generation. I understand that they failed their community with their first party games. They weren't as strong as what Sony's put out the last couple of years. There's no denying. There's no denying that. We understand that Phil's move to the position that he's in, within the leadership scheme of things, did the brand justice. And everything he promised, everything he talked about when he took on the position in 2017 is coming to fruition. People have to understand that all the fruits of his labor, all the love that he wants to put into the Xbox brand to make it great again, is coming. And in 2019 E3 more specifically, we're going to get a glimpse of the future. But real quick, before we move on to the next topic, I have to say Lynchpin, who's a very good friend of the show, dropped a $20 super chat. So thank you for that. That is very kind. He says, "Boom, I love your shows, love your energy, love your attitude. Really happy for you that you're going to E3 this year. Looking forward to your coverage. Great synergy between you and Welsh. By the way, cheers from Germany." Well, listen, first of all, dude, thank you so much for listening. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. I have to do a big shout out to Goth Witch Girl, who's a great friend of the show. She said I'd love to see them come out with a collector's edition Xbox One X that looks like the OG Xbox, but the size of the original OG Xbox. Love the show. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. And yes, that actually would be kind of cool.
Boom. Can I just say something? I literally, what that person just said, I'm going to go one step further. They've changed the Xbox logo every generation.
Yes.
I'd love for them to go back to the OG logo.
I would love. That's a great point. Great point.
Bring back the old, baby. Like, everyone, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. For me, even to this day, when I think of Xbox, all I see is that green bubble that, like,
That was so
wiggling
good.
around, and then
Yes,
the bloody
yes.
whoop, 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 whoop,
Yeah.
the way it spreads out, and it's like that cross split in the black floor, and that's the green X. Oh, mate, we bleed green, baby. We
Yes,
don't bleed white circles. We bleed green. Bring back the green. Anyway, as you were.
No, you know what? I want to talk about this. Was a last minute topic. This was also great breaking news that I wanted to talk about. And this is interesting, and it's concerning Obsidian. And it makes you understand why Microsoft, more specifically Phil Spencer, went to see them personally when this this acquisition was going to happen. Obsidian's CEO talks about the Microsoft purchase. Talks about the Outer Worlds future, and Fergus, oh my God, Urquhart, I think that's how it's pronounced, says Obsidian, and get this, folks, I did not know this. That's why I had to put the story in here. Has a total of 4 teams that were purchased by Microsoft. One is currently working on the Outer Worlds. The second team is working on Pillars of Eternity 2. And the 2 additional teams are starting things up for the Xbox Anaconda in the next generation. This story gets my juices flowing. The potential here, Drew, are limitless. And the Xbox first-party studio, now known as Microsoft Game Studios, is looking better and better every time every time we discuss it. But I want to know what you think about this subject. A total of 4 teams, Drew. How big is that for Obsidian? But more importantly, how big is it for Microsoft and their first party?
Well, I'm going to put things into perspective. You know, we were just saying that there's currently 13 studios, 13 teams, 13 game developers, and there's going to be potentially around 20 eventually. In theory, we've highly speculated, and we're likely correct because it makes perfect sense, that the initiative has at least 3 or 4 teams working on separate games under that one roof. Would we agree on that again, Boom?
Yes, I would absolutely agree. Yes.
And now Obsidian, like wow, like, okay, mind blown.
Yes.
Obsidian has confirmed, so we're not speculating anymore. They have confirmed that they have 4 teams working on 4 separate projects. That brings us up to 21. I think it's like 21 technically teams.
Yes, if you break it down into actual teams, yes, it does go over the 20 mark already, and that's crazy.
I know. It just, like, it's quite an amazing feat. It's like Xbox have really put their best foot forward with these investments, because they haven't just put their money down on like, oh, we like you, we like your work, crack on and make us a cool game. They've invested in teams that have the manpower, and not just the manpower, but the skill set to take on multitude of projects. And guys, I know sometimes people might be like, "Ooh, are they stretching their manpower a little thin?" Some teams and developers have this shit on lock. When you look at a team like Platinum Games, who like did a juggling act for us with a load of different titles, and as a result, Scalebound had to be canned, and it made Xbox look like the Grim Reaper. In this case, you've got a team like the Initiative or a team like Obsidian, which are very competent companies, and they're going to be attacking multiple projects at multiple different angles, and it's very exciting, to say the least. Boom! I can't wait to see what they're working on. The Outer Worlds, I've said it already. # Fallout replacement. That game could not have come at a better time, because Fallout is falling short, pardon the pun. Like, you know, Bethesda's aged like bloody graphics engine and all that shit. Like, the Outer Worlds looks like it's going to be the next best thing in terms of that genre. And we now know that Xbox has them on lock. The Outer Worlds will be a multi-platform game, but when that game is a success, I say when it is a success because you can tell it's going to be, it looks phenomenal. Every sequel going forward is going to be an Xbox exclusive, which will be dropping in Game Pass and all that shit. Like, the circle is never ending, Boom. But this, once again, Clobriel with the tweet. Obsidian, it's a simple tweet, really, Boom. Obsidian CEO on Microsoft purchasing the Outer Worlds future. Fergus says Obsidian has 4 teams. Like, just that sentence alone just opens up a cesspool of conversation.
Listen, it makes you. First of all, when I heard Obsidian, we had heard prior to. First of all, I have to thank the chat once again, and I don't usually make mistakes. I think people are aware of that. I said Microsoft Game Studios when it's actually Xbox Game Studios. So thank you in the chat for correcting me. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. I guess my excitement has overwhelmed me to the point where I actually made two boo-boos live on the air, and I normally don't. So thank you for your understanding. I have to say a couple of things first before I get to my point. There's been a lot of super chats, and I cannot thank enough how generous people have been. It is really, thank you so much. First of all, Harry Heck drops another $5 super chat, and that's outstanding. He says, what if Halo Infinite is never-ending, expanding, free-to-play online game that will keep gamers active for a good time? Great show, guys. Nice discussion. Yes, thank you so much. Well, I don't think it's going to be free-to-play, but I think it's going to have a games as a service mantra where it's going to be a story that's going to continue. And I kind of dig that. We are moving out of the realm of games having a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I'm all for that because the more content that you can add to a game, you bring life to its community. You bring life to its multiplayer. You bring life to its single player because both sides of the coin matter. Single player may not be everyone's number one go-to in 2019, and that's obviously apparent with games like Black Ops 4 and Fortnite and PUBG and of course Apex Legends, which has taken over the universe. But there are still old school gamers who want a strong story. It's one of the reasons why I really enjoy the Sony games is because they tell a very strong, emotional, adult-themed story. I dig that. That's what I dig. And I also have to thank Tempest, who is an amazing Apex Legends. He's a legend. You want to talk about Apex Legends? This guy is ridiculous. And what's even more crazy is his wife is even more lethal than he is. I say hit this guy up on Twitter. Get his gamer tag on Xbox Live. Team up with this guy. He has over 400, from what I understand, over 500 kills in Apex Legends. It's ridiculous. He's so good. He says, hey, buddy, just supporting the show. Xbox hype train. Keep it coming. Thank you so much, Tempest. I appreciate that very much. But, in regards to this, there's a couple of things you have to look at with Obsidian. We know in their history what they've done. Right, Drew? We know that they did Fallout New Vegas, which is revered as one of the best Fallouts in the series. Certainly, a game I put over 300 hours into. Loved it from start to finish. Pillars of Eternity. We know that game was a smashing success on PC. Pillars of Eternity 2 is going to be just as big as a success. So now you say to yourself, okay, right. Outer Worlds, one team is working on. If the game is going to be significant, if it's going to be a hit, if it's going to be the second coming, it's going to be on the PlayStation, it's going to be on the PC, and it's going to be on the Xbox. I don't know if it's going to Switch. That's another whole story. But if it is a smashing success, if it is an incredible, new IP, well, guess what, folks? The second part is going to be exclusive to the Xbox. Okay, yeah, sure, it's going to go to PC, but it will not be going to Sony's machine, and I think that in itself is a big deal. Secondly, as soon as Pillars of Eternity 2 is done, that team is probably going to support it. So that you have a newly acquired team that has two games that have two teams working on it, but then you have, which we did not know until this article broke, two additional teams to create two brand new IPs for the Xbox platform. And when you say it out loud, it stands, the weight of it is so immense, dude, that people don't understand. 4 teams for this very, very popular company is a big deal, Drew.
No, definitely. That like we've said, like their pedigree speaks for itself. And even if like let's just like pretend for hypothetical sake that this is a new studio, they've never made anything, the Outer Worlds is their first ever project. That was a very impressive showing for that game. Like that, you know, obviously it isn't the case. They have got a pedigree. They have got, you know, they got enough games under their belt. But that game alone speaks volumes on what they can do. Like, it looks absolutely gorgeous. Like, I'm very excited to see what
It looks
they're
beautiful.
doing.
It really
Oh,
does.
it
Yes.
looks amazing. I saw a few people in the chat saying it's right up my street. Very much excited for blah blah blah. You know, a few people agreed with me as well with regards to my Fallout replacement comment. It's true. It's just, it's come at a perfect time, and I'm with you, Boom, with regards to the Outer Worlds. The beauty of this is the timing in which it's been acquired by Microsoft. The Outer Worlds, you know, it's going to be an absolutely phenomenal game across platforms. People are going to buy this game on all these different platforms. They're going to love this game. It's going to absolutely it's going to be wanting you to come back for more, and then it's going to hit people. Oh wait, if I want to play this game, I got to subscribe to an Xbox service or buy an Xbox console.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, it's quite an interesting situation. But yeah, man, I'm excited.
Yeah, well, two things real quick before we move on to the next topic. Algorithm EXE drops a $5 super chat. Thank you so much for that. He says, I hope Ninja Theory finishes Razor, which I didn't know about, and releases it in Game Pass. It's a looter, and it will be would be an Xbox looter shooter. Gave myself chills. Now I haven't heard about this game. Now you have my interest peak. I'm going to look after the show of what Razor is from Ninja Theory, because if it's another looter shooter, sign me up. And I have to give a shout out. He makes a really good point, and I have to just read it. The original Next Level Gaming. He says competition is great, and Xbox has responded this gen to grow first party and compete with Sony's. I'm assuming first-party games. Gamers win, especially if you can afford all three systems, and that is very, very true. Like I said, it's not easy. Gaming is expensive, but I will say this: if it is in your financial wheelhouse, maybe not now, maybe sometime down the line, it behooves you as a gamer to experience games on all platforms. Now, I don't play on PC, but because most of those games eventually come to the consoles that I support. But I do suggest supporting, if you can, again, if it's in your financial wheelhouse, to support all three consoles. Not just because it removes the fanboy nonsense and the plastic war lists. It gives you as a gamer an opportunity to experience different levels of creative experiences on different consoles. Again, I enjoy my PS4 for its first-party games and its story-driven single-player titles. I enjoy my Nintendo Switch because it's the Nintendo Switch. I'm a Nintendo fan. I've been a fan since '85. I was fortunate enough to receive it for my 15th birthday, and I've been a fan ever since. And of course, the Xbox, like I say all the time, is where I lay my head down at night. I play all my third parties. I love Live. I love my friends list. I love my achievement score, which is almost at 260,000 as of today's date. And I love the Elite controller, which I own too. Again, that was a great point. I wanted to bring it up because he did say some pretty interesting things in the chat, and I wanted to kind of give him a shout out. But I want to talk about games with gold. Now, this is a subject that in past shows, both you and I have sat here and pondered upon how terrible a month it might, the February of this and March of that and June of this one sucks. But I'm here to tell you folks that the games with gold lineup for March 2019, in my personal opinion, is fantastic. And I want to break it down. First of all, it starts out with Adventure Time. Now, if you're not familiar with what Adventure Time is, obviously it's a cartoon. It's adult themed, but I'm sure plenty of kids watch it. It's on Cartoon Network, and it's called Adventure Time: Pirates of the. I don't even know what it's called. It's something with pirates. It looks. Look, I haven't played it. I'm gonna play it. What can I say? It's a free game. Next, this one does not get as much attention as it should, because not only is it good for your kids, but it's fun for the adults if you play with your kids, or just enjoy the game for yourself. um Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 2. Now it's on EA Access, but if you don't have EA Access, and a lot of people don't, this is a fantastic Xbox One title. But you know what? As good as those games are, the next two games are what takes the cake for me as a fan. First of all, Star Wars Republic Commando for the OG Xbox. Now, folks, listen, step back for a second. Let me just say this, okay? Lots and lots of people have never played this game. And I'm going to say this. It is one of my favorite games of the generation for the OG Xbox. It is one of the best Star Wars stories ever told. And it's a first-person shooter that you deal with the Republic Commandos. It's a team. They're like brothers. It tells a massive, strong, brother-like Bond story from start to finish. Look, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. If you've never played this game, my God, when this becomes available on March 1st, which is tomorrow, PS, by the way, you need to download this and play this game. Sure, it's not going to have achievements, but it doesn't matter. It's one of the best Star Wars games you've never played. And then on March 16th through the 31st, this game I played to completion multiple times. I think I got almost every achievement in the game. Metal Gear Rising for the Xbox 360 was a effing masterpiece. Another title that many people skipped out on. I am telling you right now, this is the best Metal Gear game since MGS1, and it stars Raiden. It is fantastic. Drew, I'm going to let you take it away. I think I did my good guy, my gushing rant, if you will. What are your thoughts on Games with Gold for March 2019?
I got to say this. It's one of the more solid ones. Get like that Garden Warfare 2. I'm yet to play it, even though I have EA Access, but I've heard nothing but good things, especially when it first came out. Like a very popular choice. So that is a nice pick for people. That Adventure Time, I really don't know what to make of it. I'm sure there'll be plenty of kids that'll play that and love that, because I know it's a popular TV show for the youngsters, but I've tried watching that with my son. It's safe to say whoever created that show is high on acid and is literally like fucking mental, because it is crazy.
It has a very high arc of sense of humor that sometimes I don't even get. I get what's happening. I just don't get why it's funny. Maybe because I'm old. I don't know. It's just, I've seen the cartoon. It's just not my bag.
Yeah, nah, not for me. That's for sure. I mean, if my kid liked it, that's great. But yeah, no, honestly, people, they are on acid. I'm telling you. But yeah, Garden Warfare 2 looks like a cool pick. I mean, I've already got it available via EA Access, but I haven't played it yet. But if my friends were to grab it because of Games of Gold and have a go, I'd definitely love to jump on that. I've never been a huge Metal Gear fan. I never have. It's not that I don't like the look of it. It's just I've never really gotten into Metal Gear.
This is so different than what you were. This is an action game. This is an action hack and slash Metal Gear is what it is.
I see. Oh, I know a few people.
It is not your typical hiding around corners. So they want you out in the open. You are cutting people's arms off, heads, legs are flying all over the place. It is one of the most unappreciated Xbox 360 titles of its generation, and it gets a 10 out of 10 from me. It is astonishing. I you know what? Sadly, they didn't do an HD remaster, but thankfully we're getting it as a free game with Games of Gold.
Yeah, and it'll probably have an enhancement as well.
Yes.
But no, that's cool. So it's essentially like Devil May Cry, but in the Metal Gear universe.
Yes.
Cool. No, that's cool. That's piqued my interest. I left this one last because it's the one I'm the most excited about. But Star Wars Republic Command. Now it wasn't that long ago. Honestly, Boom, you spoke highly of it, and it's got me very interested. But it wasn't that long ago that I think it was dropped into Game Pass. The Jedi Academy game that I haven't played. And now this is another one that I haven't played. So that's two OG Xbox Star Wars games that would have indefinitely. Guys, everyone in the chat, this is why backwards compatibility is so incredible. I've been gaming since I was swimming in my dad's nutsack, basically. And there's still some games that slip through the cracks that you don't see or you haven't played, whether it be because of age or circumstance. And this is just another one. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, Boom. And the only reason I know that this game and Jedi Academy even exists is because of backwards compatibility. The fact that Xbox has gone out of their way to bring back these OG games, and even better yet, put them on the platform and the services that I actively use. And it's just like, whoa, okay. Thanks, Xbox. And wait, what was that? What was that? Oh, it's free? It's free? Oh man, literally, like, I'm sorry, like, you know me, Boom, I call it as it is. Like, that is phenomenal, and I'm excited as a Star Wars fan, and you should be too. Not you specifically, Boom, you as in anyone listening.
I know, and I get exactly what you're saying. I mean, listen, let me just say this. First of all, I have to say a big thank you to Christian Gonzalez with the outstanding and extremely generous $20 super chat. He says, "I love single player games, but if a game had a great and addicting multiplayer like Titanfall 2, I could honestly go without the story because the multiplayer is so good. Also, they should port Gears 5 to the next gen Xbox." Well, in regards to Titanfall 2, yes, both single and multiplayer. The multiplayer wasn't as strong as one, but it was still fantastic. I put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours into that. In regards to Gears 5, well, it because it's an Xbox family of consoles, they don't have to technically port it. What's going to wind up happening is when you're playing Gears 5 in 2020, which a lot of people will be doing, thanks to DLC, and obviously it's going to be more open world from what we understand, and of course Gears Online, which is everyone plays. It's just going to have advancements that you can't get on the X or your Xbox One standard. You'll see ray tracing. You'll see possibly 4K 60 in both the single and multiplayer if it doesn't already have that. So it's going to be interesting, but it's going to be a gorgeous game, and I cannot wait for that. Drew, let me just say this. This has been probably one of my favorite Xbox Factor podcasts to do. There was packed with information from start to finish. We broke records. We had almost 200 people watching live, and for a show that starts at noon, that is really encouraging for us as content creators. First of all, we are extremely, and I say we because both Drew and I talk on a daily basis, behind the scenes when we're talking about this show. We are extremely humbled by the response, mostly positive. I mean, of course, every chat's going to have a knucklehead or two. Most people were pretty good, even though there were some strong negative opinions. Listen, that's fine. Be negative if you want, just don't be nasty. Because you know what happens. I have no time for that. Say your point, have a strong opinion. It's very welcomed here. Everyone is welcomed here, regardless of what flag you fly. Even if you're a PS guy, if that's the only flag you fly, listen, you're still welcome. Come on, hang out. I'm saying, here's some Xbox opinions. Maybe we'll change your mind. Maybe we won't. I don't know. As long as you keep it civil, you're welcome. The minute it turns ugly, you're not welcome anymore, and I don't want you back. And I really do mean that. But Drew, nearly 200 people watching. That's really saying something for this show, where it's gone, where it started, and where it is today.
No, absolutely, man. It gets me absolutely excited. It pushes me to my limits. It gives me a thrill. Is the what I'm looking for, Boom. It's amazing. This chat every week. I say it every week, and I will continue to say it until the fine people in the chat become assholes and I don't like them. But I don't think that's not going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Right. But I'll say this: what I've been saying every week. You guys are so cool. I literally love I've said it before. I love talking to Boom. I love dissecting the latest topics. I love it all. But one of the things I genuinely look forward to the most each and every week is engaging with all you guys. You are incredible. Keep it up, because you are honestly, like, Boom has got an amazing reputation for you, because of you, with you guys in mind. Like, you guys have put you've left your scent on this channel as one of the best live chats of any podcast out there in the gaming streets on YouTube. and you guys deserve a tap on the back. So I love it. Absolutely love it. Awesome show, Boom. Thoroughly enjoyed myself once again. Epic topics, epic chat. Back to you, man. Thanks again for having me. I loved it.
You know, one of my trademarks is responding to everyone in the chat, and sometimes running the show. You know, I don't get a chance to actually type to everyone, and it's something I enjoy doing. So I just kind of want to mention a few people that I missed, and I feel terrible about it. First of all, Philly Eagle, thank you so much for being here. ELS Tech in the chat, you know, welcome. Of course, Dean from Creating Beyond Limits, thank you so much. The very, very talented and amazing J Dubs, also known as the Graphic God. Please, you know, welcome, of course. C Script, you know, welcome to the show. As always, your support is tremendously appreciated. And you know, Aaron P, thank you so much for being here. Scrub Nurse, I saw earlier. Thank you so much. Smitty Smith, if I missed, Crispy Bomb is another one. Pink Floyd, a huge supporter, usually the first one in the chat. You know, listen, I could not do this, and Drew and I, as a team, could not do this show, nor could I do my channel if it wasn't for the outstanding support that we get from you. So thank you, chat, once again. And of course, Drew, we got to get you out of here because we are closing in on 2 hours, which is something we knew was going to happen because there were so many topics. You know, your channel has exploded on the scene. You said you were going to come back with a vengeance, and you have proven so. I know that you took a few days off because you have a new microphone coming, because someone in the chat was nice enough to say, hey, listen, love the content, but your mic's a little low, so you have a new mic coming. But your topics, you know, when you see you discussing them, are from the heart. You're an Xbox guy. People know that, but you also don't insult the other communities. And I think that's what separates you from all of the ranters on the YouTube scene. You know, tell everyone where they could follow you on Twitter, and more importantly, subscribe to your outstanding channel.
Well, the Twitter page is the Welsh Gamer 93. By all means, hit me up in the DMs and give me a topic you want me to talk about. As for that microphone, it has finally arrived. So the video train is going to be back on track. I enjoy it. I've made about 4 videos this year so far. Thoroughly enjoying it. Trying a new format. If you want to go check them out, get to my second part of the outro. The Welsh Gamer, 3 words. Go over, you know, check out the videos. If you like what you see, do one better, hit the like button. If you want to see more, do one better, hit the sub button, and even better, hit the bell button, because you'll know when I'm coming. So guys, absolutely love you all. Thanks for the support. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the comment section of my videos and all that stuff. Spur me on, DM me with any topics you want me to discuss. More videos are coming. This is going to be a big year for my channel, Boom. I'm very much looking forward to pushing more content, and there's a lot to talk about, a lot of very good polarizing topics. So
yes, yeah,
I'm enjoying it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here. And before I get out of here, I just want to say that tomorrow's Breakfast with Boom has a panel that's packed with talent. I will be doing a tweet in later on this afternoon to give you guys a breakdown of who is on that panel. That's going to be 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Breakfast with Boom is all new. Lots of stuff going on. A lot of new original opinion pieces that I wrote for that show. And it's going to be great from start to finish. A strong 2-hour program. Thank you so much from me and the Welsh. Enjoy your Xbox, PS4, and Nintendo Switch gaming, and be nice to each other on social media. Have a fantastic day, and we will see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.